Welcome to
NSCoder Chicago.
Welcome to
NSCoder Chicago.
Welcome to
NSCoder Chicago. NSCoder Chicago.
Welcome to
Hey, you're listening to the NSCoder Chicago podcast. Here we cover news related to iOS development, and we like to just talk about technology and how it's affected us in our lives in general, which we'll cover in some topics today. So my name is David Vision.
And my name is Sean Wolter. NSCoder Chicago is a monthly meetup for Mac and iOS and Vision Pro and iPad and watchOS developers. Any developer, any enthusiast for Apple platforms is more than welcome. We meet on the last Tuesday of every month, most months. For the month of December and June, we usually do something for the holidays and for WWDC respectively. But yeah, come by anytime. nscoder-chicago.com or look for us on Meetup. We'd love to see you. It's been, reshared and recovered at different sites, but I think Mac Rumors, Philippe Esposito gets credit. Somehow they came across a pre-release version, some internal builds of iOS 26. And so if you've ever worked in sort of build flagging, you can imagine that Apple, with the code that they release to the world, they flag certain pre-release things to keep them from getting out to the public. For whatever reason, it looks like they accidentally sent out the wrong build. So dumping out strings from that, looking at whatever they could, Philippe and others found internal notes about AirTag 2 forthcoming, a thing called a HomePad, model number of a new studio display, hopefully coming out soon. Even some details about iOS 26.4 and iOS 27. So, spoiler alert, if you don't want to be spoiled on upcoming things from Apple, pull your AirPods out of your ear and do something else for a few minutes.
And at the same time, it's all rumors, right? Might be true.
Oh, yeah,
might
that's
not.
true. Who knows? Might never come out,
Exactly.
There were rumors about a car for a decade, and that thing never came out.
Oh, yeah.
So just running down the line, and you can, if you Google for this, you go to Mac Rumors or Macworld, you'll find the coverage. I think most interesting to me personally, because I do enjoy the Apple Fitness and health and the connection with the watch. There's notes of a new Health Plus subscription, and I don't know if this is the authors editorializing or if they have data in the strings in the code, but it says that there's also an AI assistant that will look at your health data and do something. Details unclear, but I am excited that they're continuing to iterate on the health features.
Oh, yeah.
We talked last week about how sometimes Apple can do a thing and just leave it alone for a decade. So nice to see that they're trying some stuff out.
Yeah, I will say, as you're talking about it, I'm feeling a little bit anxiety about an AI reminding me that my blood pressure gets high sometimes.
Oh, no.
Maybe better to keep it in mind than out of mind,
Yeah. I mean, already, because it's so cold outside, I've gotten notifications where Apple Health is like, you're walking less than you usually do. I'm like, thanks. Thanks a bunch. It's freezing outside. Yeah. Your cholesterol's high. You're going to die. Oh, thanks. Thank you, phone.
Yeah. For me recently, you haven't been sleeping as much. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then
the kids will do that, Having babies will do that.
Yeah. Thanks for that tremendous insight, Health.
But it's going to say it in the most optimistic and motivational tone ever,
Oh,
that's the least we can ask for.
Gosh. Man. Yeah. At Apple's scale, I don't know. It's tough to release anything with AI that's not what's the right word? A little dangerous. So Apple of all people, I assume, I hope, is going to be conservative and really thoughtful about putting AI into health. Because it would be a bad scene if you had a little health bot that hallucinated and said like, "Oh, you're never gonna die. You're in perfect health. You're the strongest man I've ever met."
Yeah. Sycophancy. I think that's the term used with AI, which is over encouraging and optimistic about everything around you.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't tell if I would want my AI to be encouraging of my current lifestyle or not, you know? Like it's obviously you want a doctor to give you the hard facts, you know, and you expect it to be like, I'm going to have to change some things. But the doctor doesn't follow you in your headphones everywhere, you know?
Yeah. Man. That's a good, it's a it's a tough conversation even with a trusted doctor or a family member.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And, you usually have to be in the right mood for it. You kind of, know you're going into it. If it just happens randomly while I'm walking to the bus stop, I'm like, okay.
These all come out of internal builds, so I wonder if somewhere in Cupertino there's some engineers that are testing this, and they're getting push notifications as they wait for the bus that are like, you're suffering from hypertension, or
no.
you should try eating less.
That would be a great one to get. Try eating less.
Man. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked. Fans can go back to, I think, episode 2. We talked about some of the chatbots rolling out in third-party apps. I use an app that sort of synchronizes workouts and does some interesting visualizations. And it rolled out a coach feature, which has been absolutely unhelpful for me. Like the insights are not helpful. It's I don't know. It's just I would rather just have a chart that I can look at and think of myself. But with all these AI features, I don't know what the mass market thinks.
Yeah, that's
what are
kind
regular
of
people doing out there.
Right. That's my feeling is that the AI coach stuff, I'm sure that there is an audience out there that is excited and happy to get that feature, but for me, I've definitely never wanted it, never asked for it. And I'm like, I'm kind of like you. I'd be happy to just look at a chart, get some general stats. I also like the line charts, the progress over time.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes it's the opposite of progress. I'm fine to look at all of that and browse that myself. So, I wonder how this, the health coach stuff it does feel a little pushed on you a little bit, Like, I mean, maybe this feature sounds like that a little more so right now, but even just I think we were talking a while back, maybe it was at an NSCoders event, about how you just, now these days, you record your walk because it's like, hey, we see you walking, would you like to record it? You hit yes, and suddenly there's like this motivational AI talking about like, yeah, you did this much progress so far, and by the way, you're listening to this song, keep going. And that's already way more than I'd like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's a lot of fitness people out there who really appreciate it.
I don't know. In my circle of friends, we've all turned off Workout Buddy, but
okay.
I'll be home for the holidays. My parents are both Apple Watch users. They're always recording their steps and their workouts and their things. So I'll see if they are using Workout Buddy. Let's take them as indicative of general adoption.
Sure, yeah. Was there anything else from the leaks that you were excited about?
Yep. So like I said, excited that, at least Apple's working on health and trying things out. There's a bunch of little features like folders in the Freeforms app and filling in credit card information through Apple Passwords, which will be nice because I think that's sort of hidden away in Safari preferences right now.
Yeah, that really belongs more in passwords. I used to use 1Password.
Yeah, me too.
And I would keep, of course, not just the passwords, but my credit card information there, my identity information there, like my driver's license number. I never remember that,
Yeah, same
and
here.
so, but what I get worried about is the whole honeypot situation.
Yep.
And it's already, I don't know if you've seen these, like, maybe it's just my YouTube, algorithm, but I've seen some videos that document how like iPhone thefts uh, have gotten super sophisticated to where they have like this system down of like as soon as you get it, they need to like get into Control Center and like turn off Wi-Fi so that you can't lock it, and they go through all of these steps. But what scares me the most is that these steps are effective enough for them to usually take over someone's phone completely. One of the steps involves changing the Face ID, I believe, so that they can get into any part of your phone. And at that point, they're probably able to get into all of your passwords. And actually, that's the main goal, is to get into your passwords app, and be able to access the rest of your accounts, including bank accounts and stuff. And that part makes me a little bit scared of putting more in there, because it is a honeypot. It's going to attract, the worst kinds of people to get in there.
Yeah.
I don't know, but here's the truth. I'm probably going to use it anyway.
Well, yeah, everything with security and privacy is a trade-off, right? Like you can
Right.
Have convenience in exchange for some security. Yeah, I mean, like in the nightmare scenario that somebody took my iPhone while it was unlocked, it's not too bad because I have a long passcode and Face ID would still stop people. But if somebody took the phone and got my long passcode somehow, it's game over. Like they would get into all my bank accounts, all my retirement, all my like every email, everything. It would just that would be it. So like I just have to imagine that like the world in which somebody kidnaps me and forces me to turn over my long password is probably probably not going to happen. Like that's probably a low probability of that happening.
Right. You've mentioned the importance of switching to a long password in the past. I think I'm starting to feel a little more sold on that now.
And it is still pretty convenient. If you pick a numerical long password, you can still use the 9 key 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You still get that in the UI.
Okay.
Like the password entry is smart enough to show you that. So when I unlock without Face ID, it's just I just have to type in a ton of numbers.
Okay.
But it's better than typing in like a long, super long alphanumeric passcode.
Sure, yeah. I have like a 24 character alphanumeric passcode I used to use with one password. But ever since the Apple Passwords app came out, I haven't been using it at all,
Yeah, there's that convenience trade-off again. Yeah, because like I've been a 1Password customer for 15 years, I think.
Aren't they kind of local to Chicago? Am I remembering that right?
They had some people that lived in Chicago, but I think their headquarters was in Canada.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and same as you though. Like I had when 1Password launched the family or enterprise plans. I had a family plan. I got my wife on it, but it was just a little too difficult, and so. Apple Passwords with its first-party integration is just so much smoother. We have a shared password collection. I still put super secure things in 1Password, so like I've got them locked away.
You still use 1Password?
Yeah. Because in 1Password I have a super long password. It's like a whole paragraph of text. Like,
do you still use the manageable vault file, or did you end up going to their cloud servers?
Yeah, I went to their cloud service at some point a while ago. And I don't even need that anymore, but at this point, I don't know. Hey, does anybody know, can you downgrade back to the old-fashioned Vault file?
So you can't downgrade as far as I've seen, because like I said, I've loved using 1Password for a while too, and when they really started pushing for the cloud servers, that's when I started looking at other options. But at the very least, it has been possible to download old versions of 1Password so that you can continue using the vault if you manage that yourself. Sometimes when I've had to set it up on a new device, it's been really tricky, not intuitive at all, They like really have not made that path easy to go down if you want to manage your own vault, but I think it's still possible with old software.
All right.
That's one thing I kind of wish that were more standard. Is like you could have that vault that you just manage on your own. That said, I feel like Apple is so integrated into everything I do these days that I really don't mind that I don't have that.
Yeah.
But at least with 1Password, I was disappointed when they moved away from that. I think there's FastPass. There's a few of these other ones that didn't really ever offer that. But they do offer at least the ability to export your passwords.
Right.
That said, I exported from 1Password, put it into my Apple Passwords app, and still lost a lot of information.
Yeah.
There's a lot that just, their data structure didn't match Apple's for whatever reason.
Yeah. There's still a ton of metadata. I wish, I guess going back to the leak, at least this shows that they're continuing to iterate on the Passwords app and functionality. Because, in 1Password, you could add phone numbers, notes, backup codes. You could give metadata sort of free-formed. You could add custom fields. Like, none of that's in Passwords. You just sort of have notes at the bottom, so you can kind of hack it. There was a...
Oh, wait. Do you mean in the Apple Passwords app?
Yep, yeah.
I believe they added notes a while ago.
Yeah. But I'm saying in
okay.
In 1Password, you had custom metadata. You could make a field that said, like, I don't know.
Oh, right. Yeah.
David's favorite
You could name
snack.
it whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
And make it secure. It would, like, hide it for you until you, like, clicked it or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And
Can't do that as much.
It's funny, the interesting timing of this conversation, because yesterday on Mastodon, a friend of mine was sort of reposting, elevating some discussion about passkeys and how, like, with the current implementation of passkeys, you're locked into your passkey provider and, like, it's opaque and it's...
Sure.
And again, trade-offs is the name of the game.
Right.
Most people have terrible password hygiene. They don't use a password manager. They're bad at it.
Yeah.
And so passkeys for most people are a much better experience and much more secure.
Yeah.
But, if you're on Mastodon, you can follow Ricky Mondello. They work at Apple on the Passwords app.
Okay, wow.
And they even reshared a presentation that they did at a conference a little while ago, talking about the philosophy, the design, the goals, all this stuff. So, like, really good follow if you're interested in following along.
I love when there's like super passionate people working on great features like that.
Yeah, that's the best, man.
Yeah. Apple seems to attract a few of those too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I remember they I forgot his name. There was a guy who did a lot of Swift server stuff, and with Vapor, and I believe Apple ended up hiring him to help out with their Swift ecosystem stuff.
Nice.
Like, that seems like the perfect hire right there.
Yeah. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, Swift ecosystem's still going strong,
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, circling back, there's tons of other stuff in this leaked code, little bits and bops, but the last thing relevant to me personally is that there is code that hints at a Apple Studio Display 2 with HDR and ProMotion 120 hertz. And so for years I've had a Asus monitor that I got from a friend who was moving, and it was meant to be gaming. It has super high refresh rate. It has great color reproduction. It does not do HDR. But I have thought for years about getting a studio display. But the problem is the current studio display is not better than my Asus monitor. So I want so badly for Apple to make a new studio display with, ProMotion, HDR. Give me that, built-in camera. That would be great. I would love to have a beautiful display on my desk.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the things I miss most. I have an LG display, and the fact that it doesn't have a camera at the top, I really do miss that.
Oh, man. It's so embarrassing, to have a camera sitting on the top of your beautiful monitor.
A camera attachment, yeah. Though now, these days, it can just be your phone, right? I need to look into that more. It's got one of those stands that allows you to set your MacBook vertically closed.
Oh, yep, nice.
Great desk space, but I'm like, oh wow, I really don't have a camera now.
Yep, same deal.
Yeah.
This is okay. We should have a whole episode in the future about desk setup because
Oh yeah.
for years I just close my laptop. Like I have one big monitor, and that's the way I work. But yeah, but, do you have them side by side? Do you have a second monitor? Do you put your camera over here, over there? Like
Yeah.
a world of possibility.
Awesome. I took a note of it. One thing you mentioned in the leaks was the home pad. I'll say I'm at least curious about that.
Yeah.
Something I've been surprised to really enjoy is the home pods. And I don't know if they were ever meant to be like the home hub for Apple, home features, but that's basically what it's become for me, as a way to like manage my lights, talk to Siri. Like I prefer talking to Siri on the HomePod more than any of my other devices.
Yeah.
I don't know that I get much more than that in terms of home features, actually, because some of them go to my Apple TV. I used to have the smart doorbell. Whenever that would ring, it would show like a video preview on my Apple TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds interesting to me. But I'll also say it's kind of like the fitness coach thing, where like I don't know if I'm asking for, like, I don't know if I want more from the home features.
Yeah.
Like what more could it be adding that might make it worth it to buy a home pad? It sounds like it's going to have a display, an interactive display.
That's what the rumors say.
I did really like having the Nest thermostat.
Oh yeah.
and that ended up becoming like at least the temperature hub,
Yeah.
If it functioned something like a Nest thermostat and covered more features, maybe I'd like it.
I think you and I are in the same boat, because I'll see I don't know, YouTube video or a blog post or somebody on Mastodon that's like, oh, I use God, what's the name of that open source thing? Home Connect. Like I used Home Connect and I bridged to this other thing, and I have like 4,000 thingamajigs that are all controllable, and like,
oh wow,
that's cool. But for me, I have smart lights in different places, smart light switches in different spaces. I sort of hacked my garage door because Chamberlain continues to break third parties. You can only years ago, you used to be able to hit their API, but they actually last week they just ruined it again. They further broke compatibility. So anyway, hacked my garage, but like pretty straightforward use cases. And so for me, I'm really impressed that Apple has continued to just march forward with HomeKit. Like years ago, it started with like a hope and a prayer. And now we've really got something that's like secure and private.
Yeah.
If I get a camera, it doesn't upload anywhere. It's only in the secure, iCloud servers. It's not sending my doorbell camera to the police. Like,
right. Depending on the camera provider. But yeah.
They really built something good. But also, like you said, I don't know. Yeah, what would a home pad do? What do I need a dingus for?
yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be another display, and I barely use my iPad, to be honest. Like, as it is, like, my life isn't asking for another display, and if anything, it's like I could go without it. I don't know, but. Yeah, that I did forget. I also used to control the thermostat with the HomePod too. That's like, it really was the hub of my home interaction. But yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll give a face to the house. Maybe it'll become like a more of a like a house manager or AI friend, house friend,
Oh yeah. Actually, that's a good point, because maybe I'm getting too excited, but the HomePods, old and new, full size, and the HomePod minis, I don't think have any of the processing power to do any Apple Intelligence locally.
Oh yeah, probably not.
So maybe HomePad is the sort of sidestep where they say, "Oh, this has like our AI chips and it can do
Right, right.
something." We'll
Oh, I
see.
hope it's not how they leave HomePod behind. I hope that's not the reason for leaving HomePod behind.
My poor HomePods, they're holding
Yeah,
on.
I've got three of them because I
Oh,
loved them
wow.
so much. Yeah, I had one for my living room, bedroom, and I had a home office that I kept it
Yeah.
in. They sound so good. They fill the room really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably the best speaker that I've ever had, and they like don't seem to care about it that much.
Yeah. It just hangs out, comes and goes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've got two of the original HomePods that have moved
Mm,
throughout the house. Right now they're connected to our living room TV, and
okay.
they do a perfectly fine job for, TV speakers. It gives you a little bit of
Oh yeah.
space, a little bit of
Hmm.
surround sound, but obviously it's not a full system. But it's
Sure.
it's nice and they sound good.
Yeah, yeah. They sound great. I've got a sound bar to go with my TV, and occasionally Apple TV likes to start prioritizing the HomePod. But most of the time I don't notice because it sounds pretty much just as good as like the dedicated, sound
Yeah,
bar.
yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. I hope they continue with HomePod. I'm definitely going to try to hold on to mine. I actually one
Yeah.
of my HomePods randomly broke. Apparently, this is a common issue where like
Hmm.
I don't know if it's a circuit or something just like burns out. But
Yeah.
there's a HomePod repair guy that is on YouTube,
Yeah.
and he just like
You talking about Nick's Fix?
yeah, you know about him,
Hell yeah.
and
I
yeah,
I love he fixed one of mine was totally bricked, and I sent one of
same,
them preemptively because
yeah,
I wanted him to get ahead of it. Yeah, super
right,
cheap,
yeah,
super helpful.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
great guy.
Yeah, honestly, the most expensive part, the part that I was least happy about paying for, was the shipping, and that's not on him at all. But
Yep.
yeah, awesome guy, and his live streams surprisingly aren't that active for like how talkative and honestly kind of entertaining his streams are. But
Yeah.
I'll pop into there every once in a while and just like ask a few questions. Very cool guy.
Yeah.
He commented on the fact that he doesn't actually like have eyelashes, and so one of his biggest problems recording the live streams is just like dust floating around and gets into his eyes because the eyelashes aren't there to get him out of the way. I don't know why that stuck with me after he mentioned it, but
Wow.
it's yeah, it gives him character, at least in my mind.
Well, welcome everybody to the Nick's Fix fan cast.
Yeah.
Uh, we love him. He because I one of my HomePods was just bricked. It wouldn't do anything.
Okay.
He fixed it. The other one I said to him preemptively because I was like, well, if this one failed, go ahead and like do
Right.
fix the capacitors or whatever on this one.
Because it's a common issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super great. I was willing to pay more. He sent them back. And then in return shipping, something got jostled. And
Oh.
so only when we were watching certain TV shows with certain bass,
Hmm.
one of the HomePods would rattle.
Oh.
And so I emailed him. I was like, I'm so sorry. It's rattling. Is there anything you could do? And he said, send it back. And I said, okay, I'll pay for it. And he goes, don't worry about it. That's included in the warranty.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And he got it. He did something, sent it back to me. It arrived as a surprise. And
Oh.
then again, I was like, please let me pay you. He fixed it. And he was like, no, that's included in the warranty. Don't worry about it. He covered
That's
shipping
awesome.
and the fix.
Whoa, really?
It
Okay.
was crazy. Yeah. I'm like,
That's an expensive cover.
how are you
Yeah.
making money on this?
Wow. Yeah, apparently he doesn't run out of HomePods to fix either. He says they just keep on arriving. I'm like, that is great.
There's a small but dedicated fan base of
Right, right.
true
I mean,
believers.
like it sounds like both of us, are in that group.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I hope I never have to leave my HomePod behind. It feels like one of those lifetime devices, honestly.
God. Well, yeah, it has to be because it doesn't have a aux input. So it's got to keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what scares me. It's like, well, so here's a question I actually posed to him on his stream. If Apple decided to stop supporting it, would he maybe move into the modding territory for HomePods just to kind of keep it alive, whether that was with aux, with Bluetooth. He mentioned that he wasn't really looking at that at the time, but that there are people who've already started work on that kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
And if it became popular, he mentioned that he might do it. But
Yeah.
there's some hope for end of life, usage for these things still.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Apple would feel bad and I would feel bad if it was just e-waste,
Yeah. Because it's the speakers, those are those don't just die on their own, they're physical things that are gonna continue to function as long as you give them a good signal.
All right. I'll do some research offline. I'll see, is anyone hacking them? Is anyone jailbreaking and like loading Linux on these things? Like, what are the possibilities?
Right.
Just in case.
So for our next topic, I thought it might be fun for us to get into what inspired us to get into software development. And is it still an inspiration? What motivates us to continue today? Hopefully more than just a paycheck. But I'm curious, how did you get into software development? What really drove you in that direction? And does it still drive you today?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I'll be excited to hear your answer to the same questions. I love to tell my origin story. You might have heard it at Mobile Makers a million years ago. Mobile Makers was a boot camp for iOS developer training. And I talk about this story with people there to try to be an example. Like I was always the computer kid growing up. Like I was very lucky that my parents bought an IBM PC in the mid 80s and then didn't yell at me too much when I like broke it playing around with it. Around 2000, I have to check Wikipedia, but like I think it was the summer of 2000, the Mac OS X public beta came out. And I had always been a Mac fan, but I'd never, I was always breaking my garbage PC. So my graduation present from high school was an iMac, and I installed the public beta on it, and I downloaded as much as I could about Objective-C. And I remember Hyper Jeff Biggis, who lives in Chicago. This was years before I knew him personally, but he had a website, the Mac OS X page. And so I devoured all of this, and I was so just excited about Objective-C and Unix. I didn't know what any of it was, but I was like, oh, this is great. And so time passes, I go to college, I'm like always just hacking on Mac OS X. But I came out of school, and I did not major in computer science. I studied economics and math, came out. I don't know what I was thinking, but I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I worked in the mortgage industry right before the mortgage meltdown.
And you already had a passion for Macs at this point. You just didn't really pursue it in that way.
Yeah. And then even I remember I was working like inside sales for this enterprise company that did like forecasting software. And I remember like looking on careers.com, Career Builder, that was it. And I was like, are there any Mac developer jobs? And I just couldn't find any. Like I couldn't figure out how anyone would pay me to do Mac stuff. And so the story changes when the iPhone came out. All of a sudden, there was so much hype. Everyone was so excited about this. I got a iPhone 3G, which was, the first year I could not afford the first iPhone, but I just played with the simulator and this was before the App Store. So the 3G comes out and then the App Store came out. So I would talk to friends and try to convince them to jailbreak and let me break their phone. They did not.
Oh, wow. Oh, you were that connection, the
Yeah.
guy who knew how to do the cool things with the phone.
Yeah. And now that like I'm in the community and I know people like Patrick McCarran, he's been in Chicago forever. He's been coming to NSCoder forever.
Mhm.
He was jailbreaking. He released one of the first games on the iPhone, but I didn't know that at the time. And anyway, so finally I'm employable. I remember I went into an interview with Vocal Digital Agency, and I told at the time the head of engineering, Scott, I said, I want to quit my job and I want to write iPhone apps for you right here. Let's go. And God bless them. They hired me.
Wow. And why do you think that was? Because I feel like that is not likely to happen today.
What I'm leaving out of this story is like I had put together about 3 apps that weren't good by any means, but I had shipped apps, so I had a portfolio of sorts.
So you clearly were able to show some skill around that kind of thing.
And because I had been tinkering with Mac OS forever, I knew a lot of trivia. So in interviews, I was like, "Oh yeah, you got to be like you got to connect to the run loop for that timer to work." Or
okay.
God, what was the other thing? It was something about like the responder chain that like most iOS developers didn't know about. Maybe they still don't know about it, but like I was like, "Oh yeah, you got to connect to the responder chain for like the keyboard event or something."
Wow. Sounds like you came at it from a true hacker perspective, which is cool.
That's very generous. I think I just got lucky.
Oh,
I think.
Wow.
And then, so the other part of so the reason I got into it is because like I love the platform. I love to build things. I think maybe not anymore, but like for a long time, Mac and iOS dev tools allowed us to make really powerful, enjoyable things. The like Cocoa and UIKit were just like really great. You could make an app that looked and worked well as a normal person.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, not every platform provides those tools to like make a solid app. I mean, like as far as user interface goes, that used to be really difficult to deal with.
Oh yeah, kids today won't know. Like I had tried Visual Basic. I can't even remember what version it was, but I had tried Visual Basic on Windows 98, and I couldn't do anything. Like I was just lost.
Oh.
And then two years later, macOS 10 public beta, you've got Interface Builder, and you just sort of drag and drop it onto the screen. You make the connections. You write a little bit of code, and all of a sudden you've got an app that allows cut, copy, and paste. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's my app.
And it looks just as good as anything else out there.
Well, maybe not just as good, but almost, yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that's become more of a normal thing. UI component seems to be almost expected for different platforms these days.
Yeah. So yeah, like super excited about the platform for years, and just so lucky, so glad that the opportunity opened up and the iPhone was a hit, and that really enabled my career since. So now if we fast forward, I moved into management, and then I've led big teams, small teams, I've transformed teams, whatever, like all sorts of software engineering leadership. But what keeps me in it at this point is like that another layer of abstraction, like one level higher. Like I still enjoy software, but like what I really enjoy now is helping to build the teams and the people to build the products. Like, I don't know, building the organization is, what I've been excited about for years.
Okay.
But I still come home to Apple platforms and I'm like, this is nice. This is comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So tell me your tale. Tell me, you've talked previously about how you were in design and visual arts and even music. Mm-hmm. How do you get into software?
Yeah, well, it was actually during a conversation with you that I realized I was doing software from an earlier age than I even remembered. we were talking about maybe this is generous to call it software development, but we were talking about doing web development with MySpace and
Yeah.
Neopets and all of those websites back then. There's a part of me that is very tempted to just discount all of that and say it wasn't really software development. But if I think about how I was doing it back then, with a very limited knowledge base, it's not that different from software development later in life, where you've got a limited amount of knowledge to work with, but you look into other things revolving around the kind of things that you're trying to achieve. So, like, maybe you're looking for a specific design, maybe you're looking for a specific functionality, and at the end of
Hmm.
the day, you've got to do a little bit of research to find it. Back then, it was maybe less less traditional research, where instead of looking at like developer documentation, I was looking for like pre-made, MySpace profiles that might have had the feature that I was looking for, like how to hide the friends box or something like that. But still, that's a form of research on its own, and you parse through like that specific theme, and you look for the part that does what you want, and then you take it, you use it in your own code, build a
Yeah.
little more knowledge around it, even if it's just just vague familiarity with like, oh yeah, I'll remember this later.
Well, I want to interrupt real quick about a MySpace detail because I was never on MySpace. I was like a little too old, or like
Sure.
I just missed that gap.
Mm-hmm.
Did Would you go and look like do a Google search for like how to do this on MySpace and see like tutorials and stuff, or are you doing view source on other people's pages, or both? All of the
Sure.
above. How
Yeah.
how would you find that?
So Neopets was a little more of the view source kind of thing. Um,
That's so
and
cool.
yeah, it was great that you were able to get so much from view source back then. Even better, one of my favorite things to do is to like save a page offline, view source, and like tinker around with it, make it my own. Um,
Yeah.
but by the time it got to MySpace days, there were so many websites that just provided MySpace customizations, usually entire themes. And what you would do is you would just copy a large snippet of code, drop it into your About Me or wherever it was, and then your profile would look different. And so most people, I think, didn't really care to like look through that code and figure it out. It was enough to be able to copy and paste it. And honestly, more power to people if that's all they have to do. But some of us want something a little more custom, and so it kind of helped to go through the code and figure out what a lot of it did. The funny thing is, it was such a, I don't know what to call it, maybe like a piratey type of environment back then, where
Hmm.
where like themes would be built on top of themes. You had some themes that were built by people like me who would just like edit the parts that they wanted, didn't touch the rest. And so some of these themes that you would get would have a ton of stuff that you really didn't need, but just kind of continued to live because they didn't, disrupt the theme that they eventually landed on anyway. Um, and so yeah, that was my first experience with software development, I guess, with web development. Um, but then I really got super invested in the design world. In high school, I joined the yearbook club, and
I love that.
it was a
That's
small
that's the
school.
gateway. You're like,
Yeah, yeah, and it was great because yearbook is, of course there's designing the actual book, but then it's the photography, it's coordinating with the different groups of the school. So there's a lot of different things kind of at play. And for me, my school was pretty small. I think we had less than 400 students. And so I actually had the fortune of becoming the editor of the yearbook, which is like the guy who decides how the whole thing is made, uh, um, within my sophomore year of high school. and continued through the rest of high school. And so, yeah, yearbook,
Wow.
design, photography, all of that happening at school, and then at home, still doing a bit of that on my own, including some basic music production, just, a lot of hobby stuff. And these were MySpace days, like even taking selfies was considered photography back then, I think. And
Yeah.
so, um, I got out of high school with those skills, and of course wanted to continue that in college. So went straight for the design school. Realized it was a lot more picky, in terms of who they would let in or not. You kind of had to like be favorites of certain people to get in, and I was not much of a schmoozer at that time, so I learned that a little too late. Um, but the fact that it was so selective made me look around at other practices. And something that wasn't as popular or selective, they kind of accepted as many people as they could get, was the video program. And one thing I liked about video was how much more engaging it was. For example, if you're looking at a design, you've got this like compared to video, it's one frame, right? You've got this like frame to like appreciate and admire, but your interaction with it is pretty limited. You can dig into it a little more analytically and get more emotionally and more thought out of it, but it's really a very shallow form of engagement compared to video, where you've got, of course, the visuals, you've got audio, you've got music, and you can really be taken on this like romantic adventure, and something that sticks with you for a lifetime, even. And so that was really compelling to me, and I went into video for a while and got to use all of those multimedia skills there too, and I ended up graduating it with a video degree. And so I got out of school and I wanted to keep doing a video. Did a few like weddings, did some small projects here and there, but realized really quick it's hard to make money as a video artist. And so, I don't want the paycheck to be the main motivator for why I got into software development, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't play a part.
It's a big part, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the main thing was that I looked at what I was likely to achieve in terms of salary, in terms of regular income, if I stuck with video production for the next 20 years at that time. And with 20 years of experience, an average video producer might get to 50,000 as a realistic salary expectation. There are plenty that make more than that,
Hmm.
plenty that don't even reach that. But that was a realistic expectation. And then I was looking over the fence at software development, where salaries start, first year at 70,000.
Yeah.
Some less, some more, but 70,000 seemed like a safe average for the first year, and like immediately I was sold after that. But the other thing that really inspired me to go in that direction was coming from, the creative background. There were so many times that I would open an app, and the experience would be worse than I thought it could be, There were some experiences that were beautiful and really kind of made me just like, feel like a sense of awe for like, wow, this is what software can be. This is like how good the experience could be. And then there are a lot of other apps that are like, oh, this could be better.
Yeah.
And with that kind of opinionated, stance, I thought, maybe I was a good person to get involved there and maybe try and like work in some of what I appreciate about software into the experiences that I work on. And so, yeah, I started that shortly after getting out of school and, looking at all of that, made a few of my own apps at home. I was teaching myself at the time. And so I was going like very non-traditional development routes. Didn't really spend much time looking into the standard, tools or architectures or anything like that. I just, whatever worked, and as long as it performed well on my device, I was happy. And for the most part, that was fine. It was enough that I was able to start getting interviews. just based on my portfolio. I had 3 apps on the App Store, and recruiters were starting to take me seriously. The problem was that when I got into the actual interviews, they would realize that I didn't really know what UI kit was. I'd never worked with core data.
You're just working intuitively.
I was working with, whatever, first solution I found that did the job,
Yeah.
And it came out, with, great working apps, they're pretty reliable. There was nothing wrong in terms of like the experience of them, which I was picky about, right? Yeah, when it comes to like working with a team of developers, you kind of have to know the right tools. You have to know the tools that they're using. It can't just be like whatever, you find randomly. And so that was my cue to start, learning more traditional tools of iOS development. But that's actually a really tough thing to do when you don't have someone to teach you. You don't know where to start. You kind of have to, look at this huge repository of knowledge, the Apple developer website, and say like, all right, where do I go from here? There are books actually, and that kind of pointed me in the right direction in some areas. But it's not the same as like tinkering around yourself. And so that was still taking time to get used to, but fortunately, I got the opportunity to go to, Mobile Makers, the iOS developer boot camp, and that's where they did a speed run introduction into all of the different frameworks that you would be using, which I think normally would be overwhelming and hard to keep up with. But fortunate for me, I had 3 years of just like teaching myself before that, programming and whatever worked. I even learned Sprite Kit before UI Kit. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, at Mobile Makers, I learned all of the traditional tools, how to use a table view, collection view, how to use core data, why you should use that over user defaults, and really just being able to demonstrate that I could do all of that, having some vague familiarity with most, if not all, of the traditional tools, was enough to actually do well in some interviews. And I ended up getting hired right out of Mobile Makers, so that helped hugely in terms of getting a job. But if I had to kind of say in the most minimal way, like what really got me into software development, it was having these multimedia skills and feeling like I had the ability to create something that I would like when there are plenty of things that I don't like out there, software-wise. And so that's what was kind of like the foundation of what was pushing me in that direction. The money pulled me even more, but I really just wanted to create good experiences that I could admire, that I could be proud of having created myself. And I would say that's still definitely a motivator today. The projects that I'm working on today, it's because I'm looking around out there and I'm like, I think there could be something better,
Yeah. I'm nodding along vigorously, which obviously nobody can see, but what you described, that good taste gap.
Yeah.
I always, for me, it was Ira Glass, the host, creator of This American Life.
Yeah.
A long time ago, he talked about how, he started in audio production and radio, and he knew what he liked, and he knew what he wanted, and he knew what he didn't like, but he lacked the skills to do anything.
Right.
And so it framed in career advice, it was like, you have to be comfortable not being good at the thing for a while, until you can close the gap between your good taste and your actual skills. And that applies to so many things.
Absolutely.
But, as your story spells out, like, if you can stick with it, then you can actually create the things that were in your head. You can fix the things, you can bring into the world the experiences. Like, that's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there are all kinds of things that will challenge that. Sometimes it's your own confidence and motivation, but sometimes life just gets in the way, Sometimes you
Yeah.
really just have to work that tough job that doesn't pay a lot and it doesn't leave you with a lot of time. But if you can find a way to continue your interests and your passions and continue exploring that and making things, eventually those skills begin to build and and you start to get closer to what you believed you could do from the start. Um, I do remember hearing a podcast from Ira Glass that was talking deeply about that specific thing is just like closing that gap between what you know is good and what you can do. And I believe in that 100% in any skill. I think that exists everywhere.
Yeah. I agree completely.
Yeah.
We've talked before, like I have no idea how the people coming out of school nowadays are doing it based on headlines.
Mm.
They're not doing it very well, but the, you have that intuitive sense. Like you, there was a period of time when I was just alone, sitting at my desk, banging my head against Xcode, just sobbing, like, why isn't this working?
Right.
And so much of the value of being part of a team,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of like a chicken or egg thing. Like to get a job where you work with people, you have to be good enough to get the job, but to get better, you need a community.
Yep.
And so, like, you had mobile makers, I had NSCoder, and then, of course, the people we worked with. Like, all of that community has helped us to get better, deliver on that promise.
Oh, yeah. And I mentioned how, getting into just the traditional, like, tools that people used as iOS developers was a challenge for me when I was teaching myself. If I was already plugged into a community like NSCoders or something similar, I would have plenty of people to turn to say, like, what should I really be tuned into? Like, what should I really know? That's the value of community, I think, is really having other people who are in the same space as you, being able to guide you in directions that they know is good, that will work out for
Amen.
you. Yeah.
I was laughing because, like, at one of the first NSCoders I went to, when Fading Red and Britton Witt were hosting it in, I don't know, 2011. Gosh, I wish I could remember who it was. He went on to work at Apple for a while. He might still be at Apple, but here in Chicago, he was talking about something. He was like, "Oh, you subclass UI navigation bar, and then you can change that. There's a private IVAR property or something." And my mind was blown. I was like, wait a sec. you can subclass UI navigation bar? And he's like, oh yeah, you could do that. Or I guess you could like swizzle it. And I was like, wait a sec.
Oh, right. Yeah.
What? Just like mind blowing. Like, and years later, gosh, I think it was like Instruments. Somebody was like, oh yeah, Instruments has a tool that does, I can't even remember what it was. It was like animation frames or transparency or something. But I was like, Instruments can debug visual problems. Oh my god! But like so many examples of just learning through surreptitious discussions and meetings and conversations.
Right. Yeah. You can learn a lot on your own, but having some extra knowledge floating around you does help. Especially for the things that you didn't even realize you would be interested in. Sometimes you like stumble onto something new or something super useful that you wouldn't have searched on your own.
I mean, I keep coming back, even outside of programming, like in, I don't know, liberal arts or in management. Like, I'm so, what's the right word? I'm so excited. I'm recharged. I'm invigorated by community because, you talk to other people with different experiences and they open up new doors.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for NSCoders existing and the fact that I get to go and participate there. Time is limited, but that's my favorite one right now. I might be biased.
Yeah, we're all biased. Hey, everybody, thanks for listening to the NSCoder Chicago podcast.
I'm glad to hear we both came at it from like very personal interests, Because here's the truth. I think a lot of people these days heard about software development as a good career from the start, as opposed to like having an interest that led them to that,
Yeah. And I don't want to gatekeep by any means. Like they're yeah, like so many people I've worked with, so many friends I have came to software through design or happenstance
Sure. Yep.
or yeah, just the money or like a weird opportunity. Like you never know how you're going to come into it.
Yeah.
But what I hear again and again from people that didn't go through a traditional computer science or computer engineering process, like undergrad, they'll say like, I thought there was like a like I thought it was more difficult, or I thought there was a right way to do it, or I thought
sure.
like I was not a computer person. But
Yeah.
like anybody's a computer person.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean anyone can
You know?
learn anything with enough dedication and as long as you've got like normal capabilities as a person, like you can really
Yeah,
do any
exactly.
skill if you put the time and effort into it. We'll have to talk
Yep.
a little bit about something called imposter syndrome in the future.
Oh boy. Yep.
Welcome to
NSCoder Chicago.
Welcome to
NSCoder Chicago. NSCoder Chicago. NSCoder Chicago.
That's all we have for you this week. Thanks for tuning in. My name's David Vision.
And my name's Sean Walter. NSCoder Chicago is a monthly meetup get-together on the last Tuesday of every month. You can learn more about us at nscoder-chicago.com. I just updated the website last week, so we got more details, more links, more stuff. You can also find us on meetup.com. Just look for NSCoder Chicago. And of course, you can also Google for what's that meetup in Chicago for Mac and iOS developers and enthusiasts, and you'll find us. We're one of the top hits. So I look forward to seeing you. All are welcome. Be happy to say hi to you in person. But that's it for this week. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you so much. We'll see you later.